and welcome to the Roll Report. Welcome back to the Roll Report. It's been a while for us, it's been less long for you, and we are so happy that you're here with us. My name is Colin. I am your debatably friendly DM and host of our weird shenanigans. I am joined for the last time, for now, by my heroic trio. Hello, heroic trio.
Hello.
Yo.
And
hello.
Contrary to what you heard 2 weeks ago, hello again, Hannah.
Hi.
Hi, Hannah.
Yay.
Welcome back.
We got a bit of an announcement, but let's do a quick round of introductions and let's go counterclockwise because then we'll finish with our guest of honor.
Hi, my name is Kaya May. I play Rivulet. Oh, my pronouns are they, them, and I play Rivulet Starfish, whose pronouns are she, her, and I'm your resident teenage druid princess bard.
Hi, my name is Hannah. I am the social media manager for the Roll Report. They tried to keep me out, but I came on through the cat door. My pronouns are they, them, and I am back reprising my role of Psyche Filialian, whose pronouns are they, them, she, her, maybe? Who knows? And she is an escort who's been sent by the city to help you guys out as you investigate the apparitions traipsing around the city.
Traipsing. Hey, this is Ben. I use he, him pronouns. I am playing the character of Talus, who is a shapeshifter and currently in the role of a new body who is a very beautiful Aasimar. And I'm doing my very best to develop my Icelandic accent for this character mask.
All right.
This character has beautiful, long, silvery hair. And I thought of a really pretty name for her. And I can't remember it right now. But I'll be sure to share that once we get into the story.
So that's canon.
Yeah.
A beauty that defies logic and memory.
Transcends name.
It's Esmeralda.
Okay. I actually named a fish that. Once I made very close friends with a fish in a lake that I used to live next to. So it's Esmeralda.
Sure.
My desire to know more about how one becomes friends with a fish in a lake is absolutely overpowering, but I won't interrupt introductions to
We'll put that on the Be Real too.
Yeah.
Support us on Patreon.
Yeah, if you want to know about Ben for befriending a fish, support us on Patreon. We'll release a little bonus.
I'm Fenner. I use all pronouns. Fish fear me. Women want me.
Mm-hmm.
And I play our dastardly Galen, who uses he, him pronouns and has a perchance for floor wine.
A penchant.
A penchant.
That's the one. I can do terrible French accents when I try.
And
should I say it?
Yeah,
Colin,
it's your announcement. It's your announcement.
I'm pregnant. Why is it so funny? It's a lie. That's why.
It's a visual medium. I do that.
Yeah, you can't tell I'm bursting with another human.
Yeah.
No, that's a lie. I don't know why I said that.
Because it's funny. It's in this context, at least.
Is it? Is pregnancy funny to you?
In this context right now?
Colin, explain yourself.
Okay. In humor, as in many things, context is everything. And the context of me knowing you as I do, and in this particular environment, we find ourselves, you saying you were pregnant, yes, that's funny.
All right.
Pregnancy as a whole, no.
Not at all.
Especially not in this country. Jesus.
Yikes. Anyway, the real reason that I'm here today is because it's going to be my last Roll Report for a while. I'm going to go off to some adventures up the coast, some international training in Theater Nogaku in Japan, and pursuing a life of leisure on the road in the Pacific Northwest for a bit. So I'll be out and about, thinking of you always, every moment of the day. And we'll
I hope
some other folks to play
I hope
with.
You're thinking about your training and the amazing art and shows you're going to be doing too. But if you want to think about us all the time, I'm not.
My mind is like a children's ball pit. There's a lot of stuff in there you wouldn't expect.
So yeah.
Every wade through is a surprise.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You never know where you're going to find what fell out of your pocket 16 years ago, right in the middle of those balls.
That's
So
usually
you've
where I
been.
find things.
Yeah.
That's why I'm here. So Fenner's gonna go have an amazing time, and I'm so happy for you, and I'm gonna miss you, and yeah.
We will all miss you.
Yes.
I
We will
will
all
miss
miss
you
you
so
very
much.
much.
I'll miss
so
you
much.
too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We have big, especially comedic shoes to fill.
It's true. And also, I guess just to say briefly, for the next little while, we're gonna run a series of one-shots. Some of them might be connected to our larger campaign. Many of them will not. And we'll get back to the campaign when we get back to the campaign. But we're at a good stopping point, at least. So we're gonna kind of wrap this up today, and then your next episode will be something very silly, and then the next time we record will be something very silly.
And the time after that.
And
And the time after that.
Exactly.
And the time after that.
I mean, I like to think this is already very silly, but like sillier and less connected to mysterious cults and aberrations and whatnot. I guess on that note, let's do a recap. I wrote this like 4 weeks ago, and I'm really hoping that I don't forget anything. So if I forget anything, I'm going to assume that it's fine because I don't know if you guys remember it either.
Just be like, oh wait, I forgot something.
Yeah. It was totally. It
Throw
was
it in
absolutely
later.
happened. Retcon.
Right.
So last time, you all found yourselves in the Temple of Eileen in the aftermath of your fight against the Choldrith, these strange spider monsters. You helped clean up the temple, clearing away spider webs and lots of blood before departing on your way to a artificer's shop that seemed linked to the strange teleportation device that you had found, the strange pyramid. There's also some conversation with the priestess about expressing yourselves through nonviolent communication and using I statements.
I
learned a lot.
feel like you guys are just not taking me seriously.
I'm just
Sure.
holding you back.
Yeah, really. And you attempted to, shall we say, reason with Rivulet after she had broken the teleportation device to reach a crystal inside, and it went just fine. Totally fine. Rivulet absolutely took that lesson to heart and didn't simply think everyone was worried about her. Definitely not. You arrived in the Street of Artificers, Cattail Canal, and you found the shop you were looking for, Irregular Artifice. You confronted the artificer herself, a human woman that you recognized as Skylar Crowspark, Alistair's business partner who had created the send-casting device. She vehemently denied any involvement with the red-robed cult, giving a little context by relating some of the history of humans in the archipelago. She was, however, able to identify the creator of at least the triggering mechanism of this teleportation device, her former mentor, a tiefling named Kamir, who she had last heard of on the island of Tridenton a week or so sailing northeast from Sea Shallow. Rivulet looked Kamir up on Bubble before you all left for the Grand Temple. Yes, I see that look. He was in the middle of product placement advertising at the time. And you left for the Grand Temple to report
The
back.
worst type of bubble user.
It's true. It's true. You left
I
to
already don't
report
like him.
back to Psyche's superior. As you all took a water taxi towards the inner ring, Talus revealed himself to Psyche, adopting a new persona, a new mask that looked the way that Psyche appeared to Talus. And Psyche, in turn, felt close enough to the group that you all, Rivulet and Galen, and no, Alistair's not with you, looking around to see Psyche's true form. And that's where we are now. So you are all still in the water taxi on your way towards the inner ring. It's rather late in the afternoon at this point, but this has been another very, very long day. And Galen and Rivulet, you are all kind of at the front of the boat. As you look back, you see this glimpse of Talus changing into a new Asimar-looking persona with long silver hair, and Psyche appearing to you, I think, if I'm remembering, to be a little bit shorter and smaller and plainer in a way. But that is where you are now. The pilot of your water taxi kind of, even as a random person just kind of looking around going, I'm just going to be in the back of the boat, quietly propelling us along. Y'all seem like you might have some things to talk about. I don't know.
Alice, this is my favorite face of yours so far.
I'm
So pretty.
so pleased you like it. I just found Psyche so beautiful, and I just wanted to bring that beauty to the world.
This is how Psyche looks like to you?
Yes, this is who I saw when I saw Psyche, and what a beautiful spell that you've conjured around yourself to allow people to see their most beautiful image in someone else. I learned about myself.
Psyche, I want this spell. Do me.
It's it's not a spell. It's just sort of a thing that I have as a part of who I am.
Wow, I wish I had this good of an imagination, man. I couldn't even have imagined something that cute and attractive.
Galen infamously imagined Psyche as a porpoise woman.
It was a good porpoise woman. It was a solid porpoise woman. One that you could bring home to your octopus mother. I don't know why that's so
One
funny.
mom would approve of.
My hopes and dreams.
What are the sorts
Hilarious.
of things that an octopus mother expects for you to look for in a person?
Actually, in the octopus hierarchy, there are no mothers. I misspoke, That's not important.
But clearly, what you look for in an octopus woman is their ability to squeak and click and chirp in charming ways. Presumably, that would be the sort of thing that your octopus family would look for in a good porpoise partner. Is that right?
Oh yeah, definitely. The pops and clicks. That's where it's all at for them. They're big. They're really big into communication.
You all could ask Nine what they think.
That is an excellent idea. Will you translate for us? Please ask Nine what does the octopus community look for in a porpoise partner?
Lots of stickers. And all arms intact.
Oh.
9 just hovers a little bit inside Rivulet's hair, and you see its tentacles sort of splay out.
I would imagine perhaps also maybe blunt teeth.
Yes.
Just based on my knowledge of octopus and porpoise relations.
Right. Something not too threatening,
Yeah,
presumably.
it's a tenuous relationship because the porpoises have been known to consume octopi.
Is that how you pronounce it? Well,
That's how I pronounce it.
Okay.
It's in
good to
your
know.
octopus
Go
dialect,
ahead
in your octopus
write
part of
that
the ocean.
down.
Your octopus's garden.
Sometimes at the end of an
Octopi
octopus's
garden.
life,
Octopi garden.
they want to be consumed. And it's a blissful experience.
Yeah, what is love but allowing someone to consume you entirely?
This has gone in a very raw direction. I'm shocked at the direction this particular conversation has taken.
Well, what else are you supposed to talk about in the water taxi?
I don't know.
Right.
Honestly, knowing it's octopi has resolved a years-long debate. So
Let's help you with your research.
There's regional dialects. I mean, I don't want to get you in trouble anyway.
So the taxi continues on. You look over. The driver is just kind of very carefully as blank-faced as they possibly can be. This kind of tall minotaur who's just got this very I am not gonna say anything. It's lucky that I even have a fare today. Not saying shit. But you continue.
Minotaur person.
Yeah.
What's on your mind?
Oh, no, nothing. I try not to listen to the conversations of my passengers.
Oh, come on. Have you ever kissed an octopus before?
But what about the porpoise?
mind flayer, perhaps.
No, none of those things. I've eaten them. What? We're in the middle of the ocean.
They're delicious. I know that as well.
Sorry, I
It's fine.
understand. I guess that might be a little insensitive, but no, I definitely never kissed a sea creature.
way that you said that was very suspicious. You know that, right?
Right, I'm not sure I believe you.
I don't know what you're referring to. No, my predilections run entirely towards land-based, sentient, usually humanoid.
Horses
creatures.
are sentient.
Octopi.
There's a
are
lot of
sentient
species in the
too.
ocean.
Well, you see, this is the part where I said land-based
Right.
first.
It's really
to
like
specify.
the doubling down is actually less convincing. Is
Right.
what's
You're just digging a
really-
hole now.
Look, do you want to ride or not? Like, this is my boat. You could just leave if you want to insult me like this.
I'm not insulting.
I was just asking you what you were
Love is
thinking.
love.
Just trying to
Look, I
help
was
you
really
get in
trying
touch with
hard not
yourself.
to think about this conversation y'all are having here about
So what were
an
you
octopus
thinking?
and a porpoise. Look,
What are you afraid that you're going to discover in yourself if you truly contemplate the subject matter of this particular conversation?
well, something that is generally referred to as unkind to sea creatures, I
see, I see, I
suppose.
see.
Honestly, I'm a little horrified, and I think my wife and kids would be too.
Are you sure you don't mean hornified?
Okay,
Wow.
hey, that's racist. You can't say that.
Yeah. I think, the rest of you
Racially
can stay. I
insensitive
think
at
this one's got to get out of my taxi.
Okay, all right. I understand.
Well, if she has to go, then
You're
we
very
all
big and
do.
strong, and I'd hate to defy you. Can you just row
Look,
us a
it's
little
just that it's
closer?
my taxi. I don't feel like I got to
No, I
take you
get
guys
it.
places if you're just going to insult me the whole time.
I'm not insulting you at all. Perhaps
Questioning my life's choices and my stated preferences and partners seems like pretty fucking insulting.
no,
I don't know.
I hate to say this, but I think present company would argue that is just how I make conversation.
Are they telling the truth?
Yeah.
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 They can be confrontational.
Not
All right,
on
look,
purpose.
I'm gonna drive the taxi. You all keep talking about your weird porpoise, octopi, octopus, whatever.
Oh,
Right.
so I see you've been to all reaches of the,
It's all
of the
dialect.
archipelago.
Quite
Wow.
impressive.
You clearly speak all of the
Representation
dialects.
of all dialects here. It's
everybody-
very honorable.
Everybody roll an insight check.
If I could recommend maybe a partition on this particular boat.
Yeah, 7.
Okay.
Mine's a 14 with the
I got a
modifier.
nat 20.
Oh,
I
so
got a
insightful.
14.
All right.
Okay. The Minotaur just kind of studiously tries to stay silent, 1,000-yard stare off into the distance. Galen, no idea. The rest of you clearly trying not to blush and really hoping to just extricate themselves from the rest of this conversation desperately.
I
All right,
can't
well, it's a
imagine
good
why.
thing we're almost back at the barracks.
Oh, you're on your way to the inner ring.
Oh, right, I mean there.
Good thing we're almost at the inner ring.
Great.
It certainly
Wait,
Amazing.
I would have tried. Good thing we're almost. Wait, no, that's still me. Go.
Remind me, where are we going again?
At the Grand
Back
Temple.
to the temple.
Yes.
Okay, right. That's where you do your research.
We're
Yes,
going
that's
to
where I do everything.
Psyche's room of research.
Well, it is a room. Is a way to describe it. Yes. It's more
Do you
of
get like a plaque on the door? You got the key? What is like open office layout? What are you
more
trying to
of
say?
that, yes.
I bet you sleep on a book.
What?
Many books.
That's actually not far off. I sleep under many books. Sort of a
Books can be bound in very
You fall
pillowless
asleep
ways, though, you know.
snuggling one
it's sort of a
for
cubby.
comfort.
Is it good for the books?
For the books.
Yes.
Yes, it's great for the books.
Really? All your
Helps
oil?
keep
your,
them flexible.
Oh,
Taste
you mean
oils.
my stinking meat flesh? Yes.
Yes.
No. I try to keep that off of the books as much as possible.
even
you
while
notice the
sleeping
Minotaur
on them.
just like side eye.
Oh, it's a cubby in the library. I'm sorry, you were thinking that I made a bed out of books.
Yes.
No, I'm so sorry. I know it's more of a yes and sort of situation here. No, I don't sleep on a pile of books. I sort of sleep in like a cubby hole that's about bed shaped, and it has a bed in it, and it's in the library.
Underneath books.
It's under a desk, more or less. Some of it's outside of the desk.
We could have a sleepover?
Very
Is that
romantic.
I don't know where I'd put you, I'm going to be honest. But
I'm sure we could all snuggle in the
I
cubby
could
hole.
sleep on a book.
I don't think
I could
physically
sleep
we would
tied to a
fit.
rope in the ocean, so we're good.
That's crazy what you just said. It's a temple. There's places to accommodate you that are not my library, which I suppose is not my library. Technically, I just, I'm the only person in it most of the time. And the only person who should be in it.
I have a library.
Really?
Yes. I don't go in there, but I have one.
What do you mean you don't go in there?
Well,
From somewhere you feel the momentary hint of Drawn's disapproval.
well, Drawn thought that it'd be good for me, so Father bought me a library and decked it out with all the best books and, well,
How do you keep the pages from getting wet?
magic.
Oh, of
I was going to
course.
say wax.
Oh, wax will do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wax is
I have a
magical
library
in its
too. I
way.
use it to keep the cellar door closed for my floor hooch.
Mm,
No one looks under the library.
right. That's just a couple of big books. Excellent for fermentation.
Yeah, how to keep your skin from falling out on the open ocean. 101 for dummies.
Did you write that one?
I did. Yeah.
You're awesome.
You're a published author.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, thanks.
The
I haven't
things
sold
we
many
learn about
copies.
Galen.
I've never written a book. It seems very involved.
And it's not that hard, especially if you don't edit.
And nobody around you can read, I suppose.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
No one that I invite over, at least.
Oh, well, that tells me something.
You notice the Minotaur just kind of like, in spite of himself, just following this, glancing from speaker to speaker, unable to help himself. Clearly the most interesting thing that's happened all day.
mhm.
But as you proceed through the canals, I think you all notice there is comparatively little traffic. It seems that the combination of the tourney debacle along with these strange portals opening is enough to quell the spirit of even a city like Sea Shallow. And eventually, after some more time and learning about the lack of editorial practices for Galen's writing, I feel like there's at least a children's book or two that has probably been self-published.
Oh, yeah. So your mom doesn't look like you. What about it?
Wait, the beautiful tale of found family. And you
The
eventually...
beautiful tentacle. of
Yeah, it was
found
on
family.
Opal's
Beautiful
top
tentacle.
10 reading list.
Tentative?
It
Right,
was indeed on
that
Opal's
talk
top
show
10.
personality, Opal.
Opal.
Yeah.
I've seen her
Yeah.
on stage.
She's
Yeah.
the most famous bubble.
Yeah.
The last time I saw her, she was
Correspondent.
giving away wagons.
And you get a wagon, and
Yeah,
you get a
Everybody
wagon.
gets a
It's
wagon.
crazy.
Is that really
Yeah.
helpful in Sea Shallow?
No, most of them just dropped off the edge into the sea.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
good for reef restoration, though.
Floating wagons.
Have to wait for the wood to get waterlogged. They just sort of floated out there for months before.
Wow.
Some people are really too rich for their own good.
You reveal you feel a little flap in your leg from Bob in agreement
Mm.
that people are far too rich for their own good.
Oh, what's your opinion? Tell me more. Bob?
Well, some rich guy had me in a little bubble, right?
Oh, that's true.
And you said I'm the most expensive fish, right?
I think you are.
So someone put me in a bubble because they got a lot of money?
Yes. But they do that to many fish, and that's
Yeah,
why
that-
my quest is to save all fish.
Well, that just seems wrong. That seems like they got more money than they should. They ought to give it to people.
Yeah. I agree.
Galen, you can hear this, actually. You notice as you look down, your amulet is glowing slightly, but
What
Bob is perfectly intelligible.
Hey,
Bob just goes, hey, wait, you haven't said anything before.
I didn't realize we could converse like this, Bob.
Well, the things you know, huh? Things you find out.
See, Galen? Bob's amazing, and we should all endeavor to save Bob from the travesty of putting them in little ponds.
Yeah, I agree. You know, they say the size of the tank makes the size of the fish. So maybe Bob will grow extremely large one day when he has adequate growing room.
Maybe Bob's radical politic will guide you down some kind of different ideological path than the one you're currently on.
Well, you were the one who didn't want me to save any of the other fish in the ponds.
Those fish didn't need to be saved. They live there.
Can you talk to fish? I don't think so.
Well, you know, there's another
patron of the
saying.
goddess of love? No, I don't think so.
No, but I can talk to fish,
wait,
and I know
I've
they
got
don't
another
like being
saying.
in ponds. What is it, Galen?
It's that animals love routine. So, you know, sometimes it's like, it's nice. They get fed every day at the same time. They don't have to be like scavenging around, looking over their shoulder for sharks. I'm just saying.
Presumably,
two
also
sides
it
to-
keeps them from getting eaten, which is a possible
Right.
outcome
Yeah.
as well.
The trade-off of shelter is that it is both, limiting in that you aren't stuck there, but also that it is safe. That is the trade-off.
Yes, well, I'm here, and I believe that being here is better than being stuck in a castle where you can't do anything except for avoid being in a library.
Well, it sounds like you could have done more, like read.
So boring. I want adventure. That's why we're here. To see the tourney and to explore all sorts of caverns and creatures from the other dimensions.
Oh my
That's so
God.
much more interesting than a library.
Wrong. Libraries can give you all of that, and you never have to leave where you're at.
Well, maybe what Rivulet's trying to say is that, you know, there's not a lot going on up there to help her out. That she needs a little external stimuli to get to the places that maybe you're able to get to, twiddling your thumbs all alone. That's all I'm saying. We all have different skills, is what I'm saying. We have different skills and desires, and I don't know.
I hear your point, and I accept it.
Talus shapeshifts back into to Yorick for a second. It says, "Well, as my old Captain Raffles used to say, the ship is safe in the harbor, but that's not where it was made to be."
Oh. But sometimes
Write
ships
that
have to
down.
be
That's
in the
absolutely something you'd
harbor
say.
to get, polished.
Something like that.
Galen, I think you were insinuating something not so nice about me, so now you should say something nice about me. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. I know this. Yeah, you're right. You got great hair.
Thank you.
You're
And
welcome.
moxie, a great deal of moxie.
Oh, yeah, the moxie and the hair, they're just right up there. The
What's
top
Moxie?
things I like about you. Chutzpah.
Chutzpah.
Oh, thank you. I do speak Yiddish, actually.
Piss and vinegar.
The universal language of all D&D campaigns. Yiddish.
Ah.
That's always universal. So as Rivulet's education continues, you once again find yourself moving towards the inner ring as the grandeur of the building around you changes, and then the scale back as you reach the inner ring again, where there are these small, simple homes with open water around them, these things that are notable for their minimalism and the amount of just space that they have around them. And eventually, you pull up to a large open dock area, and you see before you the Grand Temple. On the exterior, you see immense columns rising into the blue, deep blue of the sky, supporting something of a structure above them. Psyche, you would know that when you're on the inside, there is it appears domed from the outside, but there's actually a large open area once you get to the inside of it. There is fountains playing along the sides of sort of the dome and the structure that grows above these immense pillars, cascading water just trickling down some of the pillars and draining into the canals. There are small gardens and green spaces on an exterior, on sort of carefully tended promenades that allow temple goers and people that work there to walk the circumference of the building from a height. And your water taxi lets you off at the dock. You see there is sort of a small, a medium number of people. Psyche, I think a little more than you are used to, right? It's not a festival day. It's not like a feast or anything sacred to one of the deities, but there are a fair amount of people here going into and out of the main temple. The water taxi pulls up and you all disembark. The Minotaur gives you all sort of like a wave and a very careful, small smile. And
Yeah,
just goes,
I pay him and I say, don't be afraid of any journey of self-discovery that you might go on. It's nothing to be ashamed of, whatever you learn about yourself.
Nine gives him a little like wave and a wink. A little like
he very definitely does not grab the floating kiss out of the air, but just sort of like, and gives a very awkward small wave as he begins pulling away. Psyche, as you lead them towards the inside, there's sort of this main pathway that leads to the interior of the temple. And everybody give me a perception check as you head in there. Yeah.
22.
22. Rivulet
9.
sees a lot. Galen sees less.
11.
11.
23.
Okay.
23. Sorry.
So Galen.
I'm preoccupied with my fingernails.
Yeah, it's like you pull out a dagger, start cleaning your fingernails kind of ostentatiously.
Yeah, somehow I feel like this is a place where you should have clean nails.
Yeah.
And mine are not.
What you see, right, the inside, there's still these big columns that kind of surround this immense circular space. You think it's, somewhere around 200, maybe 300 feet in diameter. And there is a smaller circle of dark stone in the very center of it. You notice kind of like little sort of lines leading from like the circumference of that circle to like straight towards the columns. The rest of you, you just notice a little bit more. Specifically, there are 13 columns. Each of them kind of down near the foot has a little altar for one of the 13 gods of the archipelago. And you notice they are decorated with the symbols associated with those deities. So just kind of with perception, you notice there are things like thunderbolts, there are birds, there are sunbursts, there are books, there are moons, there are all of these sort of many different pieces of iconography that are inlaid into the different columns.
I make a beeline towards the moons
Okay.
and stars.
So with your it was a 23?
22.
So you notice there is a column that has sort of a full moon, also has sort of stylized image of a deer and antlers, and like a bow and arrow.
Mm-hmm.
There is also there are two other columns that kind of draw your attention as you immediately look for moons. One of them has it's like a more stylized dark moon, sort of like the outline of a circle and a darker color inside. And that one also, there are pairs of keys, like crossed keys, crossed knives, and intertwined serpents on that column. And the third one has a crescent moon and also has pomegranates, flowers, so you're not immediately sure of the variety, and a torch. You can give me a religion check if you like, or if one of those is drawing you particularly.
I'll do a religion
Sure.
check of 5 plus whatever my stats are.
I mean, you remember the obvious. There are, the world has 3 moons. And you kind of are like, oh yeah, right. There's like that kind of thing where there's like, like the young one and the middle-aged one and the old one. And there's like the full moon and the dark moon, the crescent. But you don't know which one is attached to which.
I want the crescent one with the pomegranate, and the flowers, and
Sure.
the torch.
Psyche, I'm going to give this to you. You work here. This is like all very familiar knowledge to you. You see Rivulet kind of like walk into the space, take in the columns for a moment, and then beeline towards the altar of Trisoni, the goddess of the underworld and the harvest and the crescent moon.
Oh, interesting. Interest in the underworld, princess.
Well, I do come from a world underneath this one.
I suppose you do, yes. The underworld in this case referring to the land of the dead.
Oh, that's interesting.
As you cross the main part of the temple, it's pretty full. Like I said, there are people at almost every one of these altars. Smaller, nervous groups of people making some offerings, and it's pretty quiet. Rivulet, as you get a little closer, you see the column it comes into more sharp focus. You can see more details. The flowers seem like they might be poppies, possibly carnations. They're a little more stylized, so it's slightly difficult to tell. And the altar at the bottom, there's sort of a simple little dais, little sort of a table to receive offerings and leave candles or various things like that. There are a few candles burning, a couple other people kind of like quietly just standing and looking at some of the iconography or looking into space.
Can I roll for insight perception on what the things left at the altar?
Sure.
20.
It is largely things that are sort of associated with Trisoni and her domain. So there are certainly just a number of candles. Some of them, it blends, the scent of them blends a little bit. There's sort of various kinds of incense and scented candles going off at almost every one of these altars. But these ones, as you get closer, there's some that seem more floral scented. There's like a strong floral scent, and underneath it is kind of like a much more woody sandalwood. There are several pomegranates just kind of sitting on the altar. One of them sort of like cut open and seems to have been broken into pieces, and one that's just sort of intact, but its skin has split a little bit from the ripeness of the fruit. There are also small bouquets and small plants, and it looks like a couple different sort of baked goods of some kind.
So nothing magical.
Nothing magical.
Take a pomegranate.
I smack your hand.
I rolled a 3.
Princess, I'd like to slightly pull you to the side. Princess, now, obviously there are many witnesses at the moment, including people who likely gave the offerings that are at the altar. But I want to be clear, the potential here is not even necessarily consequences from the surrounding people, but from divine beings who are much, much less forgiving than the living.
Oh, I think we would be friends.
Oh, I don't think so. You just stole from one of them.
It's all everything.
That's for them. It's an offering to the gods.
Yes.
It's theirs.
Yes.
If you walk up and you take it.
They're sharing.
No. You have stolen something that
I'm
belongs to them.
embodying
How
something
do
that the
you go
goddess-
about making friends? Is larceny usually how you start?
Aren't we friends?
I suppose we are.
Yeah.
I'm doing something friendly right now, okay?
Mhm.
Which is to tell you, do not take that or anything on any altar in this room. Do you understand?
What's this goddess's name?
Trisoni.
Drasoni. Would you mind if I had a pomegranate? I'd like to connect to you and taste what this scrumptious thing looks like.
Roll me a religion check.
5.
Good thing we did the math on that.
Yeah, right. There is no response.
Well,
But it seems to you like that's clearly a sign that
yes, no
you
one
should
said
just go
that.
ahead and...
I take it from her, and I'm going to try and commune with Trisoni real quick and be like, look, she's a child, and she seems, I don't know, hungry.
Make a religion check. I will give you advantage as an Asimar.
That is a 24.
You don't hear anything, but you do feel a moment of attention from somewhere. And the slightest sense that it doesn't really matter.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, she's not really like my... It doesn't matter. She says you can have it.
See, I knew it. We have a special bond.
I
Until
don't
she starts popping pomegranate
so.
seeds in her mouth.
But I like that you see it that way.
As you begin eating the seeds, you
I
all
turn slightly pink.
turns-
Juice like pervades
It's-
here. Oh, that's cute.
or like you see someone who is kind of walking directly towards you and drawing a little bit of attention. Psyche, you immediately recognize your superior, Amendiel. And the rest of you see a tall humanoid looking, much darker skin, pure silver hair that's been twisted and sculpted off towards one side, has sort of a gold filigreed and embroidered white robe with just like the suggestion of armor, that there are sort of like plates around the shoulders. What are those? Pauldrons with a cloak hanging off of them, and sort of purely metallic bronze and gold vambraces on their arms. And because I know we all love the thirst traps that I find. See?
Very cute.
Such a visual medium.
Oh my
We're such a
goodness.
visual medium.
Zowie.
So
Yeah.
hot right now.
There, go looking
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah, as an Asmar. So he is walking directly towards you. Seems to have seen this interaction, and as he comes up, just goes, "Child, the food is for the gods, but if you are hungry, it can be for you as well.
Thank
Psyche, I'm very pleased to see you alive.
Yes. Isn't that nice that I am alive?
Well, perhaps we should talk
I
about it
helped
not
with that.
on the temple floor, if you would be so kind as to follow me." And he leads you kind of off towards one of the columns. And the column, as he approaches, opens and reveals a little spiral staircase inside. And you follow him up the winding steps through. It seems like light is let in from very small slits around the sides. So there's still illumination. It's not dark, and there's not torches. But he leads you up this staircase towards sort of what you assume would be the main, the working area of the temple. So as you exit the staircase, you can see there's sort of this wide hallway that does look like it curves. You can surmise you're kind of on top of where the columns are in that half of a dome or 2/3 of a dome. And he quickly leads you around some of the curve and then opens a small door, and you see on the inside a fairly expansive and comfortable looking office. It's kind of like right at column height, so it's above street level, and you have a view of sort of the temple interior from one side and a view of the street from the other. There are several bookshelves lining the walls. There is a desk with a few lamps and sort of small ornamental objects and little fidget devices. And he ushers you all into this room and sits down behind the desk and sort of gestures to, there are a few, like a little poof and kind of an ottoman and a couple chairs. And please, everyone sit down if you would be more comfortable.
A little busier than I was expecting at this time of night. Amendiel, these are my compatriots. This is, of course, Princess Rivulet Starfish of Notlantis.
I've heard quite a bit about you.
Hello. I haven't heard nearly enough about you.
Okay. You are a teenager. This is Galen.
Yo,
the Citadel.
hey.
And have we decided on a name for you?
Esmeralda.
Esmeralda.
Yes, I'm led to understand that you take on a number of names.
That's
Oh.
correct. You're very perceptive.
Can see right through you there. Wow.
Very little happens in the city that someone does not take notice of, and I try to keep myself informed. I am Amendiel. I am, well, something of first among equals, I suppose, here at the temple, and it was I who received the call that led to Psyche being your companion for the last day or so. What happened?
Oh, well.
I kicked some otherworld butt, as the people would say.
You know, those I statements that we talked about at the temple, I don't think they really apply for a situation like this.
It takes practice.
We talk about working as a team, you know.
Well, she did kick some butt. We faced aberrations at a few points in the city, and also the Temple of Eileen on, was it Cuttlefish?
Yes.
I do like that they spell it with 2 T's.
Oh, and then
Who doesn't love a
Galen,
good pun?
I saw Galen, I statement there. I saw Galen creating cute outfit pieces for their next outfit.
Oh, yeah. I definitely stepped up my tactical gear with some of the flesh of those aberrations.
Yes, and carapace from something else. Tell me, what exactly did you find in the temple? Oh, that's good,
We tell him. It wasn't much. It wasn't very clear,
Spiders.
honestly. I was still a little lost.
Children,
That'd be the
apparently
one.
created by Pinterest.
Yes, and summoned to a portal-making device that the princess serendipitously disarmed.
Destroyed.
You
Yeah.
just see his eyebrows go up.
Yes, I
Mm.
did. Oh, and then
Cannot emphasize the serendipity with which that particular thing occurred.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you could not emphasize that she's a teenager
I
more.
also can't emphasize that
And
enough.
I'm sorry, just, you're quite sure they were Childreth and not, I don't know, just a giant spider or something else from the far realms?
Yes.
Everybody make an insight check. Well,
At 20.
Okay.
That's a 21.
Look at you go.
I got a 7.
13.
10.
So all of you see that Amendiel just sort of nods and his face goes a little bit stony. Galen with a 21, 22.
Right,
Yeah,
21.
not 20. He rolled very well in his deception, I'll have you know, but cannot beat that. You see a surface level of great concern. The fact that you have confirmed the identity of these creatures that you found is extremely concerning to him. You also see, lacking context, you are not entirely sure where this comes from, but there is underneath the surface concern, there is a layer of fear and a layer of longing. I think without some of the other context that you would need, you, even within that 20, do not kind of know where those feelings are coming from. But you see the concern settle into his features, even past the sort of stony look, and these flashes just kind of flickering through his eyes as he nods a little bit and runs a hand through his hair. I was worried about something like this. Well,
After the tourney.
yes, and I guess I've been worried about some things for quite some time now. He stands up and he goes over to just what looks like sort of the window that looks out into the inner part of the temple. And he mutters a couple things under his breath. Does anyone besides Psyche speak Celestial?
I do.
You do.
You
I do.
do, don't you?
You do. It is, so the two of you, he's trying to be very quiet and facing away, but you catch that it is definitely in Celestial, and it sounds like the word you can catch that you hear is open. And you see half of this window sort of ripple as an illusion is dispelled, and you see another bookshelf This one is locked. It has like panes of glass or something over it, sort of kind of French door style with a key. And the inside it is everything from like, a scroll that looks like it would collapse into dust if you just poked it. There are almost brand new looking books. There are sort of ancient codexes that have been bound in leather that's disintegrating. Psyche, you have never seen this before.
You've been holding out on me.
Look, you're a very, very good researcher,
Yes.
and there are still things that are too dangerous for anyone except a very small handful of us to know.
Malarkey.
What I'm going to tell you all, I would really prefer if it did not leave this room unless absolutely necessary. Yes?
I agree to this.
Thank you.
Why?
Why which? Why do you agree? Why does...
No. Why? Why doesn't it leave this room?
Have you ever heard that the more people know a secret, the less secret it is?
Yes.
That is the simplest answer. The other answer is the more people that know about some things, the more power they may have. And if you're trying to avoid that circumstance, you try to keep people from knowing.
We love secrets.
I believe you do.
Don't you?
He
That
reaches
makes
in
sense.
to the shelf and he pulls out a very, very old looking book. Very delicately, just as gently and gingerly as he can, puts it down onto the desk, blows a little bit of dust off of it, and begins opening its pages. And this is part of the hidden knowledge of the temple. We've had priests from everywhere contribute, those that believed in our work and the work of the visit and of the deities to preserve order and peace in the archipelago. Flips a few more pages. And this is not widely known. This is, as far as any of us have been able to tell, those of us that have an occasional conversation with any of the deities, we believe this to be accurate. And he sort of begins both reading and paraphrasing the story. In the beginning, the creator made the world and the sun and 3 moons to keep it company. And they named the world Pentelamar because they liked the sound of it, and they left, never seen or heard from again. And Pentelamar rested, gestating for some time until it grew lonely. And then it summoned the magic left behind accidentally by the creator and birthed a child, a magical force that floated on silent waters of the planet, basking in the light of the 3 moons and the bright sun. And in time, this force also grew lonely, divided itself into 3. The mother came to rule the seas, the maiden took the sky, and the crone remained on the land. These 3 are the most powerful of the gods and the oldest of the world's children, and from them came all further life.
No wonder I liked them.
Yes, quite. They experimented together, they created life together, they cheered, they laughed as their experiments went awry, and in time, they grew to love each other fiercely and deeply. And this is very well known. And they came together to birth the next generation of the gods, the 14 or 15, as it might be. And the ones that we have all of our altars to in the main temple. But as the trio, as the mother, the maiden, the crone, grew older, rejoicing in these children and the magic they wielded, they withdrew from the world. They left it in the hands of the gods and their creations. And they disappeared. And when the gods looked for them the next day, they couldn't find any sign, and they grew afraid. And then the trickster, as it is written, shouted and pointed into the sky, and the 3 moons had been moved in the sky. They rose and they set together in a triangle. The mother seemed to be a deep emerald green, the maiden a shining silvery white, and the crone a blood-red moon. From there, the gods were at peace. They created life after their own passions. They smiled down on their creations, blessed them with magic, and hoped to inspire them. And instead, and this is where I cannot emphasize enough, do not repeat this to anyone, the mortal life they created brought Etrax, the god of war, into the world. Etrax was ripped from their darkest collective imaginations and raged across the land, laughing as he left destruction in his wake. And the gods descended to the world to defeat him. The god war lasted for weeks, and the continent itself was left seared and scarred, cracked apart, flowing with the world's blood. And eventually, only due to sacrifices of Elene and Trisoni, the rest of the gods managed to seal Etrax away from the mortal realm. The great continent had been broken asunder into the archipelago, and most of their creations had been destroyed. Creatures like the Choldrith, who at one time were creative, beautiful, full of light and life and interest and magic and sparkle, suddenly had been broken in their mind and their spirit by the war. And the gods mourned, and they gathered the last of these creatures to survive and sealed them away in a supposedly secret tomb to prevent them from ever returning to the archipelago. And then they created their next forms of life. And as you know, I think a little bit more, life was blessed by the gods. They, a different sort of origin, the dragonborn and so forth come from some of the reptilian or lizard species. I believe the humans, like you, possibly come from some of the greater apes. Honestly, Princess, I believe your people are actually directly descendant from the elemental planes themselves, and you stand apart. Several hundred years ago, as all these different people met, there was almost another great war. And then Hendil and Noara appeared in dreams as the visit to many of the priests and leaders of the islands, and that roughly takes us to today. The point of this being that this cult seems to have made a device capable of breaching this tomb and bringing the previous generations of the gods' creations back to the archipelago.
Uh-oh.
And they must be stopped.
Wait. So the god of war was not created by the other gods?
No. Purely from mortal imagination, or lack of it, perhaps.
So you're saying that we can create gods? I could create a god.
Well, what is a god but an amalgamation of its believers?
It's something like that, yes. It's marginally more complicated.
If you believed in me, then I could be a goddess?
It would take the combined belief of most of the archipelago, I believe, or at least a sizable portion.
Rivulet takes out her lamb and starts to configure a whole post.
Amendiel just
Bubble goddess.
completely ignores and turns focus to everyone else. I don't understand what is happening, this newfangled magical
The
technology.
princess is starting a cult.
Well,
A competing cult, I suppose. Sorry, so the goal is to what exactly? Permeate this barrier between...
couldn't possibly imagine without more information.
We do have some of that.
Yes?
Well, we know that the device that was created to channel the Childreth through this plane shift was created by an artificer tiefling named Kemir, and that this teleportation spell would also have to be cast by a very powerful wizard or druid Someone at least as powerful as Tefist the Druid, but certainly not necessarily them.
Hmm.
We also know that there is a cult of evildoers led by Theobald that may be involved.
I am aware of the Harbingers of Crimson, and what I say is if the cult, if the Harbingers do know how to reach this tomb and breach its walls, then the world itself is in danger.
But that would mean they would have the power to I don't know, thwart the magic of the life sacrifices of 2 goddesses.
Well, let's theorize for a minute. You and I are good at that. So
Okay.
let's assume, for one, that the tourney has weakened the barriers of reality around the world.
Completely plausible.
No, it is so.
Well, I'm aware that the demiplane itself was breached, but let's conjecture that this world, this plane, is also perhaps in danger.
Oh.
They were deeply connected and linked, and if one falls, it might indeed weaken the other.
That's a very bad thing.
It is. Let's also make the assumption that somehow this cult has learned of the existence of the tomb and, more importantly, has learned some sort of location that they can magically create a gate to. What could their goals be? What are their stated goals? They seem to dislike interspecies harmony and the things that Sea Shallow and the All Island Alliance stand for. Why? What do they have to gain from pitting different people against each other?
War. Empowering this war god that was locked away. Excuse me. War. Empowering this war god that's been locked away.
Etrax, it could
Yeah.
only be.
Well, if the people are squabbling amongst each other, then the people in power don't have to keep as tight a hold on them. They kind of distract themselves.
I have seen enough to be that cynical, indeed. It could simply be a ploy by some governments to maintain control of their population, but I have to conjecture, I agree with Princess Rivulet. If they are, if enough creatures, if enough different species decided they would go to war, then almost no tomb imaginable could hold a deity who is being called on and summoned in such a way.
Well, what would their goal be then? To simply wipe all of the creatures from the face of existence? To what end?
Well, perhaps it's not that. Perhaps it is chaos or war for its own end.
I have definitely encountered beings that create chaos for its own sake.
Yes, I too have met individuals that desire nothing more than chaos for chaos's sake, or God's help us, if they try to do something so foolish as worship Etrax, then you can imagine they would probably want to free him.
I have no mind for politics, but I suppose that one could concoct a reason why it would be useful to be the only species left on the planet.
Galen, as you are watching and listening closely, allowing your insight to stand, as Amendiel talks about Etrax, you see the same flicker of fear and of longing. Politicians do what politicians do. But if it is some sort of world-ending threat, then it's one that needs to be dealt with. And, well, Psyche, you are invaluable to me here at the temple. I would hope that you would remain and help me research more.
The actions of the previous 48 hours notwithstanding,
You were the one who
sent me out there to fight aberrations.
And you vehemently did not want to go.
I did not.
And here, I am very grateful you're alive. I am very grateful that
You can thank my compatriots.
I am grateful to the
welcome.
rest
You're
of
welcome.
you. And what I would ask is for you to assist me with further research while the three of you, perhaps, seek out this Khmer and stop them one way or another.
And of course, you had me at research, but
Is it truly safe here, though? She might need our protection.
if the combined efforts of the temple and all of those of us devoted to the deities cannot keep Psyche safe, then nothing can.
I'm casting detect thoughts on our interlocutor,
Okay.
Emendiel.
Okay.
So you will have to pass a wisdom check of 15, or Emendiel will.
Passes very cleanly.
Okay.
Rolled an 18.
All right.
And although I have not fully statted him, he does get a bonus.
Okay.
But
I think you get surface thoughts for free. I think he only has to roll if you're trying to dive
I think you are
deeper.
right.
Right. I'm just particularly interested in his emotions about the war god Etrax.
Which, by the way, can I just say, detect thoughts is so OP. If you just stay in conversation with somebody for a minute, you just get to read their mind, their surface thoughts.
Exactly.
The only reason they'd have to roll is for you to go deeper. But you can just get surface thoughts for free. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's been almost as helpful as Phantasmal Force in combat.
Talis, make an Arcana check.
Ooh, that's a good one, 25.
As you reach out with your mind, one, Emendiel looks directly at you. You know, you're not a subtle spellcaster of the sorceress variety. There is verbal, somatic, and material components going on here.
I plan to talk my way out of it afterward.
Said, mind reading spell.
But he just looks at you, and his mind is just a wall of static. And you look and you see him unconsciously rubbing sort of a stone of a ring on his finger. And with a 25, I think you recall that there are, among other things, rings that block any sort of mind reading magic. But he looks over and says, "You can just ask me."
I understand he's very obtuse.
All right then. We're feeling some awkward thoughts when it comes to Etrax and your vibes when the subject is brought up. Would you care to comment?
Well, he's terrifying. Were you listening to what I just said? The world used to be one continent, and it was broken into a million islands because of this god and what he represents and how he walked through the world. Does that seem like something that I would want to set free?
I didn't ask you that. What I wondered was how you felt about it. There seems to be something appealing to you about that state of affairs.
I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. I have been shepherding peace through the city and through the archipelago for most of my life. And the implication that I would do something different, I'm more than a little bit offended by.
Can I roll insight?
Sure.
I don't think Psyche has ever had that thought ever in her life.
Insight.
Yeah, that's not it.
Can I roll?
Mm-hmm.
I'm used to. Fuck, that's a 2.
Lower than me.
We're just striking out on this.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm
seems
sorry
like seems
to
like he's
have
telling the
offended.
truth.
I just wanted to be completely sure. I've encountered many beings across my experience in this world and the next that have made me concerned that those in power don't always have our best interests at heart.
Given that the council approved the tourney, I can see in the immediate past why you might think so, and caution does behoove those of us who engage in the world a little more dangerously, as it were.
You know, this doesn't bode well for a positive relationship with Atlantis. You landlubbers doing all these things, breaking realms and letting go of gods.
I'm sorry, do you think Etrax would leave your realm alone if he
No,
were
but
to
I'm just
return?
thinking that Daddy might not be very happy to know
Do
that
you not think
landlubbers are creating all sorts
Do
of
you not think that your people
scenarios.
are contributing to this by...
Yes, Princess, I can think of few people more interested in engaging in conflict than your own, no offense.
Well, that's because some other people are creating fractures in reality. Unnecessarily.
Princess?
No, Princess, there is the sinking of ships to consider,
Yes.
the declaration of ownership of the entire ocean to
Yes,
consider.
there's that, of course. The
Right.
oceans
And-
are ours.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, tell that to the octopi.
Okay, you understand how that
Isn't it
might...
octopi?
No.
Look, we discussed, it's
we
a
just
dialect
discovered,
thing.
yeah.
Excuse me.
I don't know where you've been talking
Octopodes,
to
where
the...
I'm from.
Octopussy.
It's actually, you've resolved years-long arguments.
You're
So-
welcome.
All this by way of saying it's a bit rich coming from you.
Amanda,
Yes.
I don't mean to bring up something that's already sorted. Why would they attempt to open such a portal in the Temple of Ilion?
Well, I can think of a number of reasons. I couldn't possibly say if one of them is true or
Right, I
not.
can think of a number of reasons as well, and they all make me very upset. So, I just thought I'd put it forth to you.
Well, it is possible they're specifically targeting the temples of Eileen throughout the archipelago, not merely here in the city. I expect to hear a flood of sendings from the other islands tonight, and hopefully I'll find out if this is an isolated incident or not. You and I have talked about it. Could indeed be that they are, for whatever reason, after Eileen's descendants. Perhaps in some sort of retribution.
Oh,
I'm...
that would be bad.
You see why I would prefer that you remain here, where I
Isn't
can
that
keep an
you?
eye on
Yes.
you,
Oh, you should stay with us. I could protect you.
Princess.
I've done a very good job of it so far. Thank you very much.
I thank you immensely. I would rather not leave the temple ever again if that's the case, actually.
But this is where they would find you.
Well,
Clearly.
they would also find Amendiel, and I have great faith in him.
Thank you.
So, sorry. I just got very upset.
I did not mean to upset you quite that much, but I truly did not. Well, I prefer not to lie to anyone, and I would not lie to you about the potential for danger.
The children of Elena, all that remains of the love goddess's corporeal form in this plane. If all of us were to die, I don't know what effect it would have. Also, gosh, it would be quite an undertaking to kill us all, so perhaps I should take solace in that.
You are numerous. It's true.
Yes, you. I mean, a love goddess, as you might imagine, quite, what's the word? Pretentious, prosperous.
Ubiquitous?
No.
Propitious?
Something like that.
Promiscuous?
Yes.
Proboscis.
Proboscis.
Proboscis. No, sorry.
Proprietary.
This is making it worse. I can't think of the word.
We're here for you.
Thank you.
I'm terrible at Scrabble.
Anyway, it's a delightful multisyllabic P word that means whatever
Yes.
you're about to say next.
They had lots of children.
That's the one. Prolific.
There it is. Okay.
Oh.
We'll get there in the end.
Splendiferous.
Mm.
Yes. And Princess, just you seem to think that you can do a better job than I can. And just,
Don't
would
take that
you mind a
personally.
very small demonstration of such?
Oh, yes. Let's look at my...
Um,
She
Princess.
meditates for a while, and then she goes into starry form.
Wonderful. Would you mind make a wisdom saving throw, please?
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
That's a 6.
Super fails. You are immediately compelled, just like anything that was in your hands in this moment, as you sort of stand up and turn into your starry form. I would imagine, I don't know, you have
The rinds of the pomegranate.
the rinds of the pomegranate that you have been eating, and just
At some point, I'm just imagining her eating like an apple.
yeah, just like the whole skin and everything, and like seeds and like red juices spilling down.
Yeah.
I think I can protect you better than anyone
Strangely
else.
charming.
You immediately, without a conscious thought, drop everything.
Mhm.
That's the simplest of things that I can do.
And I can lock
And-
myself in a hole in the library,
Well,
and that
you are
should be
you
good.
are also
Yeah,
not
bed hole?
not incapable yourself.
Right. I might want to become more capable if people are going to come dispatch me, perhaps.
I would be certainly more than happy to help you train.
Mm, mm.
The
Do
rest of you.
Do you think this is something that, I've been loving traveling around with y'all, but I'm wondering if this is something I should take back to the mercenary brethren that I've been working with. And
Well, we're not supposed to tell any secrets.
who told you that?
At the beginning of the
I
speech.
did say that.
Oh, man.
Well,
Amanda, it's interesting that Galen speaks
Shoot.
about. Galen is touched by the divine. I was interested, perhaps, in what part of the divine.
Well, do you mind?
Yeah, read me like a book.
So, you stand up, and
Perhaps
Amendiel
that could be useful to us as well.
comes out from behind his desk and sort of holds onto your shoulders for a minute, kind of looks into your eyes, looks around, looks into one ear, holds out a hand, looks at your hand. Well, and then looks and like kind of taps your amulet, and it shocks him. Typical. Well, Galen, it seems that at some point you perhaps will need to make a choice. The amulet definitely comes from the trickster. That both the sort of nature of it shocking me and that sort of distinct design.
I'm surprised it didn't squirt water at you.
Well, they've not created many new tricks in their eons.
They've got some
but
good bits, actually.
do.
Wait, is this why I have such great comedic timing?
You're all waiting with that one. It certainly might be.
Nailed it.
However, possibly due to your upbringing, it seems that you also have been claimed or some such. Rywin, the god of the sea, the great dragon,
Rywin.
seems to have a claw in you somehow.
Or a tentacle?
Well, I've never seen them as a giant tentacled creature, but
Maybe
as
it's their tail.
it could, yeah, sir.
Oh.
The tails
Classic,
can look like tentacles.
Like
most
an
iconography,
octopus
a
tail.
giant dragon or a water serpent of some
Ah.
sort, but a kraken sort of thing, perhaps, certainly. So I think at some point you might perhaps need to make a choice about which of those paths you're going to follow and possibly make some amends to the other deity. Doesn't
Well.
seem like you're in any rush. I don't sense any sort of impending calamity or anything like that.
Well, thank you for the insight. I
Of course.
appreciate it.
But as you're saying, perhaps it does make the most sense to have someone who knows what we are facing remain here in the city and not simply inside the temple. Do the two of you have transportation, or would you like me to arrange a boat?
Oh, you can deal with it. Thank you.
Certainly won't say no.
Very well. It will probably take a day or so for me to arrange, but this is actually rather urgent. And if you would be, I will send word to you when things are ready, but I would anticipate not probably tomorrow morning, perhaps the day after for departure, if that is acceptable to you all.
I think I can get my affairs in order in that amount of time.
You sure? I could just
Well-
call one of my guys. I got a lot of guys doing the water taxis,
They will need a much larger boat than a water taxi, I'm afraid.
Right.
Something
To get
something
to
to
this
get.
island.
You know, I do need
Exactly.
to confirm with Drawn because this is quite a different task than I was
Well,
committed myself to.
It is the fate of the entire archipelago at stake. So if you take a day or two...
Well, if I just do it without confirming with him, then I'm going to be in a lot of trouble.
Since when are you ever worried about getting in trouble?
I'm quite sure.
When it doesn't suit her.
Sorry, you have an angel. You have a devil on your shoulder. Let me be the angel. You should absolutely tell Tron. What on earth are we talking about? You're just going to leave the city without telling anyone. You are the princess of Atlantis. Surely there will be huge consequences if you gallivant off without telling anyone of an international crisis variety. Sorry, am I affecting the right tone?
Yes, I think very appropriate one. I would listen to Psyche.
See, I do have the right thoughts in my head about what to do and what not to do. Thank you very much.
It seems like there's quite a lot to unpack there that I don't have time for right now.
That prefrontal cortex is developing swimmingly, princess.
But
Thank you. I do love to swim.
If you'd like to take a day or two to wrap up your affairs, to talk to this Dron, please let me know if there are any difficulties that I might be able to smooth over for you. And
in the meantime,
yes.
I'm hungry and a little bit peckish on top of that. Sorry, that was your voice.
I'm just going to change. Hold on. Yes.
I'm getting
I can't even keep it up for the viewers. Yes. Let's eat something.
I have quite a bit of studying to continue. I'm going to look through some of these.
You don't want to eat with us?
No, thank you. I'm going to look through the rest of these books and see if I can find any other information to send you on your way with. But
You understand now. Like, I'm pretty polite and reasonable in comparison. Am I not?
Oh, you should definitely go and get a meal with them if you're going to be parted from your new companions who saved your life.
You don't have to say it like that.
Well, it was a pleasure meeting all of you. I wish it was under better circumstances.
Very pleased to meet you as well. Sorry about trying to read your mind.
Thanks for the cool stories, man. I never knew.
The temples have a wealth of stories. Do come back anytime for non-apocalyptic purposes, I hope.
Yeah,
you can host us for tea.
Yeah,
we'll see what we can
non-apocalyptic
do.
tea sounds great. After all this is over.
That's my favorite
Let's make a plan. I will be in touch. Thank you. And he, unless there's anything else, sort of gently ushers you back towards the staircase that leads down to the main temple. And he sort of waves everyone off as you start heading down the stairs, and you see him returning towards his office.
Well, great deal preoccupied now by the idea that I may be butchered in the street. How are you all feeling about being parted from one another?
Oh, I don't know what to say.
Bit abrupt, I know.
I'm certainly not pleased about it, but I'm sure with a day or two we can find a way to celebrate all the wonderful adventures we've had together and then part ways with good wishes.
Oh, well, I thought we would be seeing each other again because you wanted to come to my sister's wedding. So it's not like it's goodbye.
Doesn't she have to find a guy to marry first?
No, she's already engaged. We had a whole conversation about it on a boat 2 days ago. You were so intrigued about coming.
A lot's happened since then.
Yeah.
So.
Well, before we all part ways, I figure we ought to fill our bellies and get you all souped up. Souped up, you know?
I did understand the joke.
For the travel at hand.
That's quite
I know our dear princess here already expressed a deep hunger within, and I know a really good spot around the corner.
Right. I have a special... Oh, it's around the corner. Well, it's a good thing I brought my special surprise with me then.
Oh.
Ooh.
Special surprise.
Yes, you will find out when we get to dinner or whatever meal this is.
All right.
By now, you'd think for certain.
It is certainly
must be dinner by now.
Early evening in an early dinner time. You exit the temple, and Galen begins leading you around the corner. Galen, where are you taking them?
Well, I hope this guy's out. He's usually out at most nights when it's not pouring rain. It's a little clam truck.
We do know how you love your shellfish.
Don't call me shellfish for loving myself shellfish.
You round the corner and you see there is it's a small sort of rowboat that has been turned into a food cart.
I
That's
love
just
that.
tied up tied up at one corner of the canal as you round it, and it's small and looks like it might fall apart at any moment,
But there's a line.
there's a line, and it also smells delicious and looks impeccably tidy. It might be about to fall apart, but god damn it, it's clean. And there is Galen, who's serving up these clams?
Oh yeah, it's a big kind of guy with 4 arms.
Absolutely.
Hello, thank you so much for listening to our wild and wacky tales. Fenner here, just asking you to apply your support to us in the form of leaving us a 5-star review on our podcast platform. Of course, follow us on social media so you never miss a release date, and maybe, tag us in some pictures that remind you of us. That's at the Roll Report Cast. At the Roll Report Cast on Instagram, on TikTok. All right. And hey, we've got a Patreon. Did you know that? If you sign up for our Patreon, you get special perks, premium content, ad-less podcast listening pleasure, and you'd never have to hear me say this message again. Back to the show.
Yes, you have all arrived at the clam rowboat. The line kind of goes around the corner, and you see this large 4-armed individual dishing up clams.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Faustus!
Hey, Galen! Get out of the way! It's like he waves a couple of people. I'll get to you in a second. This
you
is
don't
my
have
buddy.
to do that for me, but I love it when you do.
This is my buddy right here, and some more buddies. Hey, anybody
Hey.
of Galen's a buddy of mine.
Yeah,
What can I get you for?
We'll get one of everything.
All right. One of everything coming up. He just starts in this tiny rowboat, like a flur of activity, all 4 arms moving synchronously as he clams go into a little pan, a dash of white wine follows, the clams begin heating.
The real trick to get their best flavor is you don't wash them.
Hey, Galen knows what he's talking about. You better listen to this guy when it comes to food. You could put me out of business. You ever tried to open a food store? You know that, right?
I'm too busy, protecting the world from the apocalypse and all that.
Whoa,
I mean, I'm not supposed to say anything, but
that sounds like you need a good meal.
yeah,
Here you go.
yeah. We need a good
He
meal.
begins putting up
Fast.
series a series of dishes on a little sort of floating dockside tray. There is just this elaborate bowl full of clams that have just been steamed perfectly until they open. So these clams that have been cooked and steamed perfectly till they just open in a sort of a white wine garlic broth with little toast points, of course, naturally. There is next to it just a little dish of shucked raw clams. And then there is a third dish that is the largest clam you've ever seen. Rivulet, you have a moment of those aren't really supposed to be harvested and eaten because they're 1.5 foot across, and it takes them 15 years to grow that much. But it has been neatly diced and mixed into a sort of a seaweed broth. And he puts these 3 large bowls on a little thing and adds a couple utensils.
Little side of pickled mussels, of course.
Of course. What am I thinking? He turns around, opens the lid off a bucket, sticks a giant scoop in, and just scoops a bunch of pickled small crustacean and clams, mussels into a tub. Puts it there with you. You know what? You look real hungry. If you ain't got money, you just come back to me when you can. I know.
No, I got it. I'm good for it. I've been working hard lately, so I'm pretty good for it.
All right. Money changes hands, and he hands you all these bowls of food. Anybody of Galen, like I said, a buddy of mine, you all come back and visit anytime you're in the city.
Bon appetito.
Enjoy.
Thank you so much, Faustus. We're very excited.
You're very welcome, very welcome. Anything I can do for my buddy Galen here.
I'm looking around for a spot to sit.
So, just so we know, are you trained in cuisine by octopi or porpoises or?
Nah, none of that. I apprenticed with one of the greatest chefs at Tridenton. What are you talking about?
Oh, Tridenton. You're from Tridenton.
I spent a few years there. They got a pretty nice culinary scene.
Well, I think we're headed there soon.
Oh, all right. We,
what dish should we try in Tridenton?
Oh, I mean, well, they're famous for this sort of it's like a meat pie, but instead of meat, they put all kinds of seafood in it. And I would try that one. And I don't know, you should go by the thirsty bucket.
Like a meat pie, seafood boil, like a pie.
Yeah,
but the crust is kelp.
That
Oh,
sounds actually
interesting.
very good. Actually,
I had a sidebar question. Where do you source your 15-year-old clams?
You're trying to hone in on my action? What are you doing here?
I'm just curious about where one would get such big clams.
The fish market?
The fish market sells big clams here?
Yeah,
Are
if
they
you get
nuts?
there early.
Yeah, it's like I gotta wake up at 4 a.m. sometimes for this stuff.
oh my god, the fish market is very overrated, very expensive.
I think we should go in the morning. What is that? 4 a.m. is what? 3 hours from now?
You think it's 1
It's
a.m.
like-
right now?
that's
I don't
like-
know what time it is.
Just like a solid 12 hours, not
Princess
12, but
who's
like
never
10
worn a
hours here.
watch.
Yeah. This one got some kind of a problem with my sources, or what's going on here?
Yeah, she's like a bleeding heart for the big old clams, you know?
Look, if they didn't want to be eaten, they shouldn't be so fucking delicious. You know what I'm
Hey,
saying?
that's what I say.
That's what
Galen
she
knows
said.
what's up. All right.
Hey, yeah.
Let me serve these other customers. It's nice to see you. I'll see you all like again
All
later.
right, yeah,
He
thanks. Your blessing.
turns back to the line.
A gift to the world. Hey, don't worry, Princess. We'll hit up my favorite vegetarian spot after this. How does that sound?
That sounds lovely.
Psyche, there's definitely nowhere to sit. People are just like squatting on the pavement
Oh, I
or
hate
like
that.
kind of like just sitting and dangling their legs almost into the canal.
It tastes better standing up.
That can't possibly be true. Look at the serving size. All right. Bon appetit.
Rivulet creates water and in the shape of a table and chairs for everyone. There we go. Now we can all be civilized.
And moist.
Always, yes.
That's us. Very
I
moist.
gather
group.
up the skirt of my robe, like I'm gonna avoid getting wet, and sit down, and I'm immediately wet.
Should have accepted that, I suppose.
I feel like I can appreciate this seaborne food better with wetness in my loins.
From the waist down, yeah.
Definitely, it is some of the best clams
damp
you ever eaten.
undercarriage really helps with the enjoyment of seafood. Is what I
Exactly.
heard.
That's what I'm discovering.
Right.
Damp undercarriage is going to be the title of this episode. Watch me.
Wow.
The hot day is making the steam vent.
Right. I prefer it moist down there when there's clams to be eaten.
Who doesn't?
Jesus Christ.
Magical chairs aside, I always get moist when I'm eating from this guy's cart.
And I support you entirely in that endeavor.
All right, let's
So-
go get dried up at the next place.
Right. Wait, before
Everybody
we
try out your undercarriage. and we'll-
before we go, I have a special thing to share, which is that I've recently learned that as a result of Rivulet's promotion of Galen's floor hooch on Bubble, that the other islands in the archipelago are starting to make their own microbrew floor hooch, and they've sent it to the Crimson Osprey. I've been in touch with them, and they've sent us some of their very special vintages. So the first pairing that we have.
Vintage. They haven't even been doing
Yeah.
this for so long. How do they have a
Well,
vintage
they're
already?
working
No,
very
vintage
hard,
yesterday
and
versus
of
last
course,
week.
we all know how much halflings love their food and drink. And so this pairing goes especially well with clams. It's Flurkle Berry Floor Hooch. So I pour a little bit up for everybody.
From an
in some
independent
cups.
halfling hoochery.
Precisely.
They never do things up to code, man. We might go blind.
But I've been told that their culinary expertise is tremendous. So, and I've tried a little bit. So I'd like to share it all with you now. So I hand you all some of the Flurgleberry floor hooch from the Halfling Isles.
I'm going to go ahead and roll a constitution check real
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah. No, this is floor hoosh. We have established you. We need a
Right,
con save or check as you start drinking.
Okay, that's an 18. I love this floor hooch. Yeah.
You know what? This floor hooch is like, it's still made in a bag in a floor and like a dirt hole, but like it's been elevated just enough. You're like, the notes of flurgleberries are strong.
I only got an 8, so it's kind of messing me up.
It's more refined than Galen is used to, I think. Like it's more like you're it's almost not even hooch. You could almost just call it like rum or something, like give it a named alcohol.
I don't like to tell what kind of fruits went in my floor wine.
I got an 18.
18. Rivulet's handling it just fine. It's
No crying.
no crying, sort of mixing with the leftover pink and red from the pomegranate though.
I got a 13.
Oh, you're fine. It I think with a 13 on this version of the Flurgleberry floor hooch, Psyche, you are as you drink it like not very experienced in alcohol, and you feel its effects, but still feel in control of your faculties.
Children of Elena, well, you can either partake or not. It just tends to make you friendlier, so to speak. I've always tried to avoid it. I had a cousin who, anyway, he has 16
I
children.
want you to be friendlier.
That's the
Here,
end of that
have
story.
some more.
Yeah, you can finish mine too. Here you go.
You plying Psyche with more Flurgleberry floor hooch.
I'm just
Flurgleberry.
imagining like a little cup or goblet that's like steadily been refilled by other people's glasses.
And the container of the Flurgleberry floor hooch is the shape of a Flurgleberry.
Which is what? Go ahead.
It is round, almost like a blueberry, but much larger. And also blue.
Oh, of
A
course.
big blueberry. Like a really
Very
big.
tasty.
Like a melon size.
Correct.
Okay.
Melon blueberry. Lovely.
I was just thinking what color it would need to look good with pomegranate that's mixing in my body right now. So
Mhm.
now it's turning purple.
Aesthetic.
Aesthetic is
Balance
what I'm
is
thinking
critical
about.
here. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So next restaurant, Galen, lead the way.
All right. It's we'll call a water taxi because we're all kind of drunk now.
Wouldn't want to drive our own boats down the canal.
Oh, I could do it. No worries.
No.
I
We don't
feel
have
pretty
any of
We
our
are
own boats
very
here.
good
We're just wandering around.
at boat skipping. I learned
Oh,
that technique
boat
from
running.
you.
hopscotching.
Boat running.
Oh, you want to do some boat running?
Before the show of Snowy White Winter? What was the performer's name?
Song of the Snow.
Song of the Snow.
That was such a fun
special
evening. I loved being on
evening.
stage in front of
What
everybody.
happened to our
I think I lost my
tiefling
calling.
friend and their box?
Oh, yes. Did you ever get their number, Galen? I
Yeah.
think you should go on a
2.
date.
Number 2.
Number 2. Did you get their bubble? How are you going to go on your date with her?
I like to think that true love will find you in the end, and they know where my bunk is at the old mercenary, so maybe they'll come by. It'll be fine. But
All
this
right.
isn't about that right
Please
now.
keep us appraised.
All right, follow me for the boat hopping. We're hopping to the next spot.
All
I
right.
found a little umbrella and a curly straw to put in my giant floral size.
Absolutely, you do.
Yeah.
Everybody,
cavorting behind us.
Yeah.
everybody, give me athletics or acrobatics as Galen
no.
takes off, leaping into the canal.
Oh my god.
I got a 6.
I am more athletic than I have ever
That is
been
a nat
before
20.
with a 16, 17 minus 1.
21.
Wow, somehow I am.
Galen's the only
Galen-
one.
Galen leads, right? Galen just like, we're walking along the edge of the canal, looks sideways, flips off, lands on a boat, starts taking off. The rest of you begin following. Galen, very quickly, you realize the canal is emptier than it should be for an ideal bout of boat running, and you're trying to make some very, very long leaps. You make the first one or two, and then the third one is just too far from boat to boat, and your foot slips off the edge as you leap, comes down into the canal with a splash. The rest of you,
Spider-Man in the suburbs.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
The rest of you keep
This is all
going,
my powers.
following Psyche in awe as Psyche just.
I definitely just got my wings out.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, we're jumping. That's fine. I'm a little drunk. I'm just going to go ahead and fly. It's fine.
And it's full like anime style or like wuxia of like, delicately leaping onto one pointed toe at the very bow of a boat. A flap of the wing gives like a spin and a layout backflip on the way to the next boat. Just like
cheating.
Perch to perch to perch. In an acrobatic, balletic display of Aasimar wingery, I guess.
I like that.
Yeah, wingery.
Oh, but what's this that Galen finds?
What does Galen find?
When they dip their foot into the water?
What do you find?
A little catch of eel eggs floating in a sack
Of goo.
of eel goo.
A gooey eel sack.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite kind.
So I pull out the eel eggs and holler for everyone. "Ah, ah, ah!" Like that.
That's the sound
Alright.
for eel eggs when you find them.
Even some other townsfolk come out because they
Mhm.
know.
They know. That's the secret
naval
sea shallow
signal.
call. For
And you
eel
know
eggs.
eel eggs are best fresh and raw.
It's true.
Oh.
It's
I
true.
shove one in my mouth immediately. They're really big. They're like the size of your fist.
It's
Whoa.
like trying to shove an entire jawbreaker in at once, except for the
But it's
texture.
goopy. It's kind of
Right.
goopy, It's like a jello shot.
Galen, make a dexterity check for me.
No.
You don't want to use a luck point.
I'm going to use a luck point for it.
Yeah,
I
do
don't want
it.
to tell you how low it was. Lucky Galen. All right. Well, we're
What do you
dexterity.
got? Just to check. So just plus your
All right,
your.
I got 14.
Okay. So as the rest of you like turn again, balletically leaping from boat to dock and back, you see Galen holding up this giant egg sack of slightly glowing eel eggs. You see Galen just grab one, shove the entire thing into his face and bite down. And there's just like the smallest pew of little like weird eel amniotic fluid bursting out of this egg as Galen bites into it. But you manage to not just like spill it all.
Oh, it's
Because it is the
delicious.
best part after all.
Some of it goes up into my nose,
Some of it absolutely goes in your nose.
but in like a delightful way.
Like
In
a
a
gooey
delightful-
mushroom,
yes.
like a marshmallow of eel goo.
Oh, so I see you've experienced the delicacy.
Yeah, that's a word for it. I'm gonna go ahead and work on my flagleberry, and you work on whatever that is.
All right, I distribute it amongst.
The people who have come out of their houses in
Yeah.
response to your call are like, fuck, that more from me. Come on. Like, get in on it. Like, you see the enthusiasm
Give it
with
to
which
the
everyone,
children.
the-
Give it to the elderly.
a small gnome child whose head is literally the size of the egg just starts trying to like
What's
chew
this,
into
Papa?
Not your papa.
it. You are
Keep
not.
telling you.
But this small gnome is just busily biting into a thing that is like the size of their entire head.
Aw.
Were we rolling for athletics or performance?
Athletics or acrobatics?
You got decent athletic
Okay.
and acrobatics.
I mean, you can fall in the canal if you want to. I'm
No,
not
I
going to
got
stop
21.
you. Yeah, no, you are.
Yeah.
You.
The rest of
that?
us
I think.
elegantly.
I feel like for Rivulet, that is actually like dolphining in and out of the canal, like diving in, like emerging like a synchronized swimmer being flung from a team of 8 other swimmers, like doing a flip, landing on the boat for a minute, and then back into and out of the water. But you have all returned to Galen and the glowing pile of eel eggs. Rivulet, you also, as you return and perfect timing. I've got such perfect timing.
Gaia has just taken a drink and then redeposited her drink into the cup.
Right.
That's how the sailors do
It's
it.
a visual medium. It's important to say that. You hear a little voice pop in your head. Octopus armor ready. Where have been? And you recognize the voice of Junkyard, the Kenku artificer.
Oh, Junkyard. Thank you for apprising us of the
completion
of our order.
Oh, yes.
We will arrive shortly.
Oh, wait, I think that armor
You've got
place
10
is...
more words.
Oh,
you could say more nonsense.
Much thanks. Most humbly, the most beautiful and wonderful princess of Nautical Atlantis.
It cuts off after of.
Nice.
I think I was counting that right.
That's good. You should always maximize your sending usage.
Hey, that's perfect. That armor place is right next to the salad place, the vegetarian spot I was talking to you about. It's basically like a Benihana, but ice, like cold.
Oh,
That
I
sounds
have been
delightful.
considering this whole vegetarian thing, especially after watching you eat those eggs.
Eggs are like plants.
No, they're...
Wow.
Eggs are like I don't. You know they're round. You know what? Don't judge my religious practices, okay?
Wow.
Let's go get this armor for your octopi.
Somehow every
Your
single
octopoo.
word in succession is more beguiling than every word that came before.
Hey, blame that fancy hooch wine.
Okay, I will, and I do.
Nine, are you ready for your wondrous armor that we have procured for your safety?
9 wiggles its tentacles excitedly, almost like it's tap dancing against your head.
9 approves, everyone, in case you were wondering.
I was.
Splendid.
Oh, I could tell.
All right. So armor and salads then.
Huh.
They've always made
A
a great
classic
pairing.
combination,
right?
yes.
Of course.
They go
40
together
ages.
like
Like armor and salads.
Yes,
Oil and-
like
oil and
only
water.
armor and salads
it's
can.
true.
Title of my memoir. No, it's not. I'm just
Title of my
kidding.
sex tape. I mean,
Oh,
Well,
wait, who said that? Who was that?
Alistair, was that you?
a
suddenly
message from the divine.
that's who it was. They wanted to know about your sex. You are able to find a water taxi that returns you to the 3rd ring, where Bloodbath and Beyond is, and where the salad shop is. Hilariously, on the same block. Who knew the first time you visited Bloodbath and Beyond, there was a salad bar?
I thought about pointing it out, but it didn't seem like, we're going into battle. It's not a time for salads.
Well, it's true.
Says you. Salads and battle go amazingly well together,
It's
right?
true.
Is it
You have
anything
to have
like transport
fiber.
salad?
I want the most
Vegetarian place sounds
landlubber
clear.
salad we could possibly get. So that's fruit and nuts,
Oh,
land
yeah.
nuts, land fruit, obviously, and not seaweed. I
What
don't
about-
want a seaweed salad. I can get that anywhere,
Do you like
anytime.
cheese of any kind?
If it's
Sea cheese.
not sea cheese, I don't want.
Hortus
don't want-
cheese.
okay,
no,
okay.
wait, we have this. There's some sort of milk.
There was orca milk.
Oh,
we
fair
we
enough.
canonically
I
have
don't
had
want
orca
orca
milk
milk.
things.
Right.
I've had orca milk my whole life. Orca cheese. I want something different.
All right. I think they
care that
got
it's
something like that
nice
on the
stuff.
kids menu.
Well, because the cows of the sea, as they're called.
I want real cow milk. Cheese.
It's an archipelago. Where do you suppose we keep cows?
And
I
several of
believe
the islands are, in fact, big enough.
Oh, never mind.
Look, it's always wise to order with a specialty of a
the
restaurant.
orcs
You don't
are
want to go
very
off.
good at keeping normal cows.
It's true.
Fine. What's the specialty?
There's like a very confused looking elf who's just been like looking back and forth watching this again with an identical expression to the Minotaur from the first water taxi.
Elf?
Yeah. Yes. Genasi.
That's not what you call me. Oh, that was a very you. Will somebody introduce me, please?
Elf, this is Princess Rivulet Starfish. You look very similar in affect to a Minotaur we met earlier.
I wouldn't be surprised if you all get that a lot.
Oh, I was simply assuming.
Sure. My name is Elmon,
Your shared taste would...
not elf. That's my
I'm
species.
so sorry.
What
all
is
right.
your specialty,
Well,
Elmond?
we do have a cob salad. We have a variety of salads. You could build your own salad if you'd like to customize each individual ingredient.
Chef special. Chef special.
I mean,
What
chef
is this?
special.
Get the chef special. That's
Well-
always what you get.
Chef special.
Your
Chef
friend is-
special.
you-
Chef special. Chef special.
Say that 5 more times quickly.
Chef
No.
special.
Fair enough. I can't blame you for trying, though.
We don't have time for that.
We do have the chef special. It changes every day. It's very seasonal and fresh, and based on what the most recent and freshest produce we can find.
Hey, it's a mermaid hair season too, ain't it?
The elf looks sideways and like,
You know, not real mermaid, but
it's actually a form of seaweed, but it's very fine, like the texture of not your hair but our hair.
This will change your perception of seaweeds, and you'll
You don't
start
think
calling
I get
them.
the nicest seaweed back home?
Well, I don't know.
All right, let's try it. I'm open.
All right,
Whatever.
one chef special, or
Galen
2
knows
chef specials,
everything.
2 chef special.
2, and for you.
I think this cob salad sounds quite delightful. You just throw whatever sorts of delightful treats in there you can think of.
Do I or will I?
Please do, is what I'm
Sure,
saying.
certainly.
Oh, I would actually also like, on top of the chef special, your most landlubber vegetarian vegan salad you've got as well.
All right.
And I'll have a poached shark egg.
All right. Are you feeding this one as well, or is that enough food for everyone? Can I
no.
get you anything?
She's just drinking tonight.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
And I was really hoping for the spinach salad with the dried fluggelberries and the goat cheese
Of course.
and just a house balsam with you.
Yes, of course. Just a moment or two. The Elmon disappears for a moment and returns a couple minutes later. There is so the chef special does in fact have this extremely fine seaweed in it. There is also some more tropical fruits along with lettuce and radishes and small cherry tomatoes.
Wait, what are these?
Well, those are-
Galen?
They're small cherry tomatoes. The best part about the chef special is they toss your salad right in front of you.
It's true. We do indeed. Completely heedless of any double entendre, as Elmon pours from a great height a drizzle
to the double entendre.
of salad dressing and begins mixing it before handing it off. Your spinach and goat cheese arrives. The Cobb salad arrives, much as it would. There is identifiable bacon and hard-boiled egg and lettuce, and then another smaller bowl is brought out and put in front of you, Rivulet. And you look down. It is, I think, what you would see as green things, orange things, brown things, and small sort of dried fruit things, all of which look kind of unfamiliar to you. These all came from plants that grow on land.
I'm very pleased. I don't know what any of these things are. Do they have names?
Spinach, lettuce, arugula, carrots, tomatoes, dried cranberries, walnuts.
Arugula.
Yes.
Arugula.
Also called rocket in some
arugula.
places.
Anyway, and Elmon begins gently ushering you out of the shop with your salads in hand. Do come again sometime, perhaps not too soon.
Like, wait, if you toss my salad like that again.
Anytime. Naturally, anything we can do.
Got to find some
Are you sure you'd want to-
appropriate peers.
Have him toss your salads without any dressing.
Well, of course I want dressing.
Right, you don't want it to be dry.
You take the your many salads short ways down the street back to the shop of Bloodbath and Beyond. Inside, it is open, although the evening is wearing on. But the glow of the forge still illuminates the bit of pavement outside. And you see Junkyard, goggles down over her eyes, full sort of like heavy leather protective gear on, busily working away at something. But she looks up and puts the things away and starts pulls an already very greasy sort of rag from a loop on the belt and begins wiping off her hands. Come for armor.
Oh, yes, absolutely. You asked us to appear, and here we are, appeared.
Well, said was only week. Has been 3.
It's been 3 weeks.
Something. Not a problem. She pulls out a small box and opens it, and you see it looks like an 8-limbed starfish. It is sort of these 8 little segmented, jointed bits of armor that splay out from kind of a central ring. He says, hard to protect octopus nose, skull thing, but all the limbs.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Sure.
Rivulet hands it to Nine, who slithers into it, into like the shape, and fills it out, and tests the mobility of this armor.
You see little bits of the forge light and the sunset reflecting off of the polished metal as Nine wiggles around a little bit. Rivulet, Nine feels heavier. I mean, it's always been
In the
floating
cool
in
way.
your skull, or in your hair, and so kind of not very. It doesn't affect you very much, but this has kind of altered his buoyancy enough that you notice him a little bit more. But Nine, gives your head a little squeeze with all the tentacles.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Anything else? Other business?
Galen,
Weapons,
did you want
armor?
anything
Things?
for your adventures?
Oh man, I'm set. You see my new cool gloves?
It's true, you're very capable. of
My
making
awesome
Yeah.
belt?
I'm sure the party would love to purchase some wonderful accessory for you as a short-term goodbye gift until we meet again. If
Aw.
you'd
Yes.
like to have any sort of special weapon or anything fearsome to go with your accessories made of demonic hide or
my nipple ring has suffered a lot of
Oh,
salt damage.
right. So upgraded tactical nipple ring then.
Yeah, if this one could have like a little
Right.
javelin.
Yes.
Could, like,
all right.
Mm.
Artificer, do you think that sort of thing would be possible?
Sure. Javelin would be. And she kind of holds her arms apart. Like javelins are about 2 or 3 feet long.
No, like a little tiny one.
Sure. Needle.
A dart.
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 Oh.
Dart shooting
Nipple
from
darts.
tactical
I was
nipple ring.
just sort of
No
imagining
problem.
like a hoop of metal with just sort of a pointy bit.
Right. Well, it could be just weaponized, but it seems cooler if we could have it.
Or I don't know.
Become
Maybe
a ranged weapon. Maybe poison could be added to it, or maybe you could just use it to spear clams or something like that.
No, I like what you're thinking about here, like a nipple ring that shoots a poisonous dart.
I pull a
Right.
dart out of my bag and I say, I could poison this. We could put it on there. Sorry, I'm a little drunk. She just like kind of fiddling.
Whoa! What are you doing with that
I'm so
dart?
sorry. I'm so sorry. You go ahead. You put it on.
I don't know. Maybe I'm a little drunk too. We could just get some nice sunglasses or something.
Sure.
Right.
I can make the ring.
Oh, you can make the ring.
The ring. You want ring? Dart?
Yeah, perfect.
Sure.
All right.
Sure.
Let's do it.
Right. I can't think of a better parting gift than an upgrade to your tactical nipple ring.
And then whenever you look at your nipples, you can think of us.
I already do.
Yes, to think. At the beginning of the day, you didn't have a single piece of aberration armor, and your nipples were simply filled with tiny empty hoops. But now they'll have little knives on them, so you can better remember your friends.
Perfect.
We'll take a day or three to make with you. Want just
Yeah, that's the sound I wanted to make too. Yeah, perfect.
okay. You see Junkyard nod, and like immediately, Psyche, you recognize the look of like a craftsman who now has a new task, and just like pulls out a notebook and starts doodling designs. And like a minute later, still here. Need something?
I just like to watch you work. I'm sorry. I got kind of lost in it.
Maybe perhaps we can all go to Galen's bunkers and pack our things and maybe have a nice good hug and goodbye for now.
Seem like more here than I know about. See you soon.
See you soon.
Hope armor works.
Thank you.
Good night. Junkyard gently but firmly ushers you out. As you look back, like Psyche, you just immediately head down into the book and like starting to draw. You see like a little gesture and like her mage hand, which looks like a little raven's wing, begins floating small pieces of metal over to her workbench. As you begin your not too long trek back to the second barracks on the left.
I actually think if you guys are all right with it, Psyche's gonna let you guys go by yourself. I think she kind of like pauses you and says, I've had a lovely day with the three of you, but I feel that perhaps you ought to go on alone. I've had a really nice time with all of you, which is very strange. I'm not used to that. But I think maybe you might like some time, just the three of you.
Thank you for showing me a new part of myself, Psyche. We'll see you in the future, I hope.
Of course.
And thank you for imparting so much wisdom into teaching me about I statements and about all sorts of things that I can't remember right now, but I'm sure I've integrated it quite
Princess,
deeply.
I imagine that education is going to be a long-standing part of your personal experience for the next few years.
I'm so glad that you've taken yourself up on this task.
Oh, okay.
Well, Psyche, thanks for being smart and hot.
You're welcome. The second one is involuntary, but the first I dedicate a great deal of time to.
Well,
so.
better than it being the other way around, huh?
Okay. I wish you all the very best of luck, truly. I'll be in the temple trying not to get murdered. So whenever you
Good
get
luck with
back,
that.
thank you. I feel like it might demand quite a bit of time and effort. But I wish you all the very best. And when you get back, please come see me. Assuming I'm still here.
We'll do our very best to protect you and the world.
It's
That's
you
very
and me.
noble.
Tis indeed.
And Psyche, somewhat nervously, begins heading back towards the inner ring as the rest of you return to the Scarlet Osprey barracks. There is, as usual, floor hooch that has been floor hooching itself in the second barracks on the left. And at this point, the sun has mostly gone down. The first bits of stars are emerging, and the 3 moons in their triangle formation are beginning to rise above the horizon, carrying a slightly different meaning, perhaps, for those of you that have a little more knowledge of their origins now. I guess I'm going to say I think that Galen retrieves the floor hooch and leads you all up to the roof of the barracks for last toasts and whatnot.
Yeah. Well, thanks for walking me home. For me, family, it's not so much who you are born from, but who takes care of you. And we've had some good times. I've really felt like you've taken care of me, and I want you to know you're always my family to me.
I feel the same way about you, Galen. And then I transition into Yorick. I've always admired your fearsome spirit in battle. And then I transform into Renton Connolly and I say, and I've also always admired your tremendous wit and humor and your great capacity for philosophy and your wise comments when they're needed. So it's been a great honor to fight beside you, and we will return one day to fight together again.
And thank you for saving my life and all the yummy snacks you have imparted. And you are invited to my family wedding.
Hey, well, yeah, maybe I'll see you there. You all kids be safe out there, all right? And don't forget to eat breakfast and lunch and dinner. And it's good to snack in between. And stay hydrated.
You all, as the night grows on, you continue drinking until the floor hooch runs dry, reliving the very eventful past several weeks of your time together before the inevitable departure. And I think on that happy together note is where we will end tonight.
It's the end of an arc as we know it.
Oh my God.
It's the end of an arc as we know it.
So
It's the end of an arc as we know it. And I feel
drinking
fine.
wine.
On that note, I would say maybe we'll talk about this a little bit next time we get back into campaign. But y'all are going to level up because we're going to start a new arc at the end of our little interlude. Yeah, I guess to repeat that, we're going to take a little time over this summer to do some fun one-shots that may or may not be connected, and take a little break from campaign as we say goodbye to Fenner, who we love very much.
Love you.
Love you, Tanner.
Yeah.
Aw, love you too.
Thanks so much for listening to the show. If you want to give Fenner a goodbye present, give Fenner a goodbye present. I don't know. Send Fenner some money because
just
we're
money.
all actors
No
and
applause,
comedians.
just for money.
I'm
Also
homeless.
They
applause
can't
us.
hear your applause anyway.
Yeah. It doesn't work. It's not quite the Tinkerbell situation of like applaud until we're real.
Send them love. Send them money.
Yeah.
We have
Send
a
them
Venmo
likes.
Yeah.
that they can send
all
money
their
to.
Yeah,
socials.
Fenner, where can people find you and or send you money?
Well,
Because why not?
on
Let's talk about that.
Instagram, I'm all Fenner, and on Venmo, I'm a Fenner.
There we go.
A-Fenner.
A-Fenner.
All right.
Ben, where can people find you?
I am on Instagram at Ben_rogue. That is where
Full of-
my nerd things are.
They're nerdy and amazing.
Mhm.
Hannah, where can people find you?
You can find me everywhere at Booger Queen Draws. That's BOOGER Queen Draws. I am on TikTok, Instagram, and elsewhere. And you can also find the Roll Report at the Roll Report Cast on Instagram and TikTok.
You certainly can. We've got some cool stuff coming up. Yeah. Kaya, where can people find you?
On Instagram and Bubble at
We'll start
Kaya May with 2 Y's. KAYAMEYY.
And you can find my cats on Instagram at No Good Cats. Follow the show, like Hannah said, at the Roll Report Cast. If you really like us, please follow us and support us on Patreon. That would be pretty cool. Oh,
We will be around in this
We will.
interlude. We will be around.
We'll be
We will
around.
be doing
Things
many
are
fun and
happening. I'm just going to
exciting
keep
things.
sighing and gazing into Fenner's eyes.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
I can't look at all of you at once.
So emotional.
I guess we have to improvise a goodbye song for Galen too.
Oh, we did it. We did the end of the world.
That's true. Okay, we'll do something else. Yeah, thank you so much for listening, and stay tuned for our hilarious, silly one-shot adventures, and eventually an announcement about a new cast member joining us as we return to the campaign in the fall. Oh yeah, and if I can't remember if I said it, but don't stay tuned for our live show July 13th. We're gonna move that. We're gonna make that happen in a way that makes
Stay tuned
sense.
for our live show later.
In the fall.
In the fall.
As
It's
things
gonna
are
be
evolving,
awesome.
Yeah.
we will figure out what the future holds.
As
But
society collapses,
Oh,
we will be here
Jesus.
to make you
We'll
laugh.
be here
Yes,
from
indeed.
playing pretend and talking about damp undercarriages.
Important things.
Very damp undercarriages and tactical nipple rings.
slick,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
soaking undercarriage.
Like we always do. 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, 8. Secret history of the world.
Don't tell anybody.
Don't tell 'em. Lord,
Be your
is on.
bestie.
Lord Hooch spreading around the world.
If you're
Ruby
drunk,
has never seen spinach.
Do 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 do.
Arugula.
Blueberry for hooch.
and Eli.
Oh my God. We love you, Fenner. I love you so much. Jesus
Guys.
Christ. Oh,
Good run.
Okay.
Thank you.
We're gonna-
blah, 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 blah,
One,
blah,
one, two,
Yeah.
one,
1, 2, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 8, 8, 7, 8. 8, 7, 6, 7, 8. 8, 7, 6, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hey, that was really good, guys. It's almost like we're getting better at this.
Yeah,
and
just in
something.
time.
Oh, right. Yeah, right.
Close my eyes and
Yeah.
think really hard.